The people watching you the closest are usually the ones most invested in you not making it. And the crazy part is they don't even need to do anything to slow you down except watch, because just being observed changes the way things turn out. There's an interesting concept in physics called the observer effect, and it's essentially how the act of watching something changes how it behaves. Whether or not that holds up outside of a lab, something very similar happens with people. The moment somebody knows your business, your decision stops feeling completely like yours. Now there's an audience attached to it, and an audience changes what you do regardless of your end goal. And subscribe right now while I get into this. Here's the part that goes deeper than people just being nosy. When somebody observes your life closely, they build a version of you in their head and then they get emotionally attached to that version. So now every move you make either confirms the story they've already written about you or threatens it. And people don't like when you threaten the story they've decided is true about you, even when that story was inaccurate from the start. That's why the people who've been watching you the longest are sometimes the most resistant to your growth. You changing means the version of you they got comfortable with is no longer real, and that forces them to update how they see you, which a lot of people flat out refuse to do. They'd rather you stay who they think you are than become who you're turning into. The more access somebody has to your life, the more entitled they start to feel to it. They start expecting explanations for your choices. They expect to be updated like, they act like their opinion is supposed to carry weight in decisions that had nothing to do with them. And then they get disappointed when you do something they didn't sign off on. Just watching your life for long enough makes some people feel like they're a participant in it. And then there's the ones who are just watching for the entertainment. They want to see if you'll fail, if you'll quit, if it'll fall apart, so they have something to talk about later. To them, your whole life is content. You become a storyline they check in on, and the messier it gets, the more interesting you are to them. Now, here's the part that'll make you sit up. You hesitate to change course because everybody already knows what you said you were going to do. You'll keep going with something you've completely outgrown just because pivoting in front of spectators feels embarrassing. You start making decisions with the audience in mind before you've even checked in with yourself. That's the real cost, and most people don't even catch it happening. This is exactly why privacy protects you, because growth is messy and it's supposed to be. You're allowed to try something and have it not work. You're allowed to start over. You're allowed to change your mind completely and become a different person than you were last year. But you can't do any of that freely when you're performing your life for people who are keeping score and waiting to bring up everything you said you were going to do that you didn't end up doing. And if you're a visibly attractive woman, all of this hits you harder because attractiveness turns you into a magnet for observation. When people find you attractive, they pay closer attention to you. They fill in the blanks about your personality, your relationships, your intentions, and your character based on your face and your physique alone. And a big reason that happens is because the human brain would rather have a complete story about you than sit with not knowing. So it fills the gaps on its own and treats those assumptions like facts. And people don't observe attractive women objectively. They observe them through stereotypes they've already accepted as true. So the stereotype becomes the actual lens that every single thing you do gets interpreted through. They'll say to themselves that you think you're better than everybody or that you're using your looks to get ahead. Before you've done anything, people are watching you through whatever story they've decided fits, and every move you make gets filtered through it. Small decisions that would go unnoticed for somebody else turn into whole conversations when it's you, because people were already paying closer attention and the narrative was already waiting for something to attach itself to. So the move is to protect the space where your decisions are still forming, before they're finished, before they're ready to be handed over and judged, because this was never really about privacy. It's about staying the author of your own story before other people start writing it for you. Once too many people are watching, they start writing your ending before you've even lived the middle, and their version of you starts feeling louder than your own. Keep enough of your life to yourself that you're the one holding the pen. I'm Nisi York, and if you want to see more of this kind of commentary, my channel covers beauty, nutrition, and lifestyle. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever felt pressure to stick with something just because you already told people about it? Share this, like it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Take care.